that every opportunity that you cultivate today is depositing into tomorrow. Every piece, every deposit, you're not going to always see it, but what you're cultivating today, whether that is you are cultivating your children right now, that the return on your investment is going to be greater in the later part of it. When you deposit and then you leave money that it has to appreciate. That appreciation comes over time.
Right.
And if you want to cash out today, it's going to be worth
those
far more
yeah.
tomorrow.
So true.
So making sure that you understand, yes, you've been building. Yes, you've been doing it for a long time, but it's consistency. It's continuing to do it. It's being intentional about that so that you make sure that it's legacy.
Welcome everyone. Hello, I am Sybil Bull, your host for Faith Based Optimum Living, where we share transformative content on emotional wellness, purpose-driven living, and a meaningful life. And I am so glad that you're here. We're going to dive into some exciting and impactful conversations today. And I wanted to let you know that if you are watching today, you're actually at the end of the season. We are about to wrap up today with I want to say it will be a dynamic. That's the word I'm going to pull on. It's going to be a dynamic conversation. I have invited back Dr. Yia Williams to be with us today. And what we're going to be talking about is legacy. I told her that when I was praying and asking the Lord who to be the guest, she was like, that person that came to mind. And once she starts to share and talking about it, you'll understand. For those of you who did not watch her last episode, I want to invite you to go back and watch it. It was so good. She dropped so much information, confirmation, gems, details, wisdom of what we needed to do when we are moving forward, when you don't have all of the pieces. And she talked about her life. It was so good. I actually, honey, was so excited. I was ready to go get my own notebook. But anyway, let me stay focused here in this episode where it's going to be good. Dr. Yia Williams she is a transformational coach. She is an author. She is what we called an emotional specialist. She is such a wise woman, and she is a leader, a teacher, and a gift to the body of Christ and to the community and the world. And I'm just so grateful that she's been with us and that she's coming back. So just let's give her like that warm Optimum Living community welcome, and coming back.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back.
Yes, come on, Pink Lips. You're looking good.
Thank you.
I love it. You're looking so good. And I'm so glad to talk about legacy. Well, actually, I'm excited to have this discussion with you, just based a little bit on the fact that sometimes people don't understand legacy, and sometimes when we're doing life, we're so caught into so many things that we don't even remember legacy is a part of a vision. And I like what you had said in the episode we had done before. You were saying when you start to think about where you're going and the decisions you're making, it's so much bigger than just that one moment or just you. So today we're really going to unpack legacy and what that looks like. I think that people think that legacy is about leaving houses and lands to people. And for a moment when I was younger, I thought that's what it was. And so, you strive into this legacy. I'm going to buy this legacy. I'm leaving this as legacy. But the truth of the matter is, legacy is so much more than I had realized. And as time has gone on, that's why we're doing vision. And even as we're closing this portion out, I thought it was so strategic for God to give me legacy as the last part of it, because we get caught in quitting, we get caught in not moving, being disobedient, being slowful, or sometimes we get greedy and think it's all about us and not understand that He's really creating this legacy moment, and He chose us to do that and what it looks like. And I want to really talk about the bigger picture and helping people to understand that when your steps are being directed, they don't always, again, as we said, you don't always see all the steps, and we shouldn't, because faith is required. But when you're talking about legacy, what does that actually mean? I just want to ask you, what does legacy mean? Can you share with our listeners and those who are watching, what's legacy?
Legacy is what you leave right behind. And as you said, it's not just material things and possessions. It's not your titles. It is the impact that you leave behind. It is what you, once you are dead and gone, what part of you is still alive? Oh. What is it that you are leaving behind for others to eat, to glean, and to be a part of? Right. So when you think about that, what am I leaving behind that others can still eat from? And a lot of times we talk about, can somebody eat from your testimony? But is there something left behind? Is there a recipe to life, to whatever those choices and decisions that you made that generations to come can do so?
Wow, that's so good. So now we're going to get into a personal space, right? I know that people heard your title, you're a doctor, but you didn't wake up as a doctor, right? There's some things and decisions. And even when you were sharing in that episode about leading from the now, I want you to just share with the listeners and those who are watching, when did you actually start leading with legacy in mind and not just success, right? Because a lot of times when we're listening to messages and culture, it's about success, right? But when did you actually start leading or thinking about legacy rather than just success?
I'm going to say maybe about 10 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago. I began to think about it when I became a mom. I think, it shifts and it changes. Before it was, I just want to, show that I can go to school, I make money, I do all these things. And then becoming a parent, it was at the forefront. Right. What am I doing now that I need to show my children and that when I leave, they will be able to say this is. And it's surprisingly, maybe like a week ago, I was on the phone with my cousin and I was like, I'm not married to a house and leaving my children a house to have to upkeep, to have to fight over, to have to do these things.
Oh, I love it. I'm loving this conversation.
That they didn't even, I don't even know that they want it. Right? And I think that, in our society, in our culture, you want to pass down the house and things like that. But what I thought about, and I started, and I probably didn't have the language as a new mom, but now I can say, I want to leave my children with a legacy of resilience, of perseverance, of emotional courage, of faith, of, wellness and wholeness.
Yes, I got
you. I don't want to just give them things, but do they know how to pray? Did I leave a legacy of not just I saw my mom going to church, but they have the tools to do those things. So I think it became apparent when I became a mom. So my son is 17. So yeah.
And that is so important. I love what you just said. I was thinking about being a mom, my own self, and my children are older now, but I understand what you were saying about when you have children, you begin to think like, what do I want to leave? And at first you think into yourself, the Bible talks about, father leaves, am I saying it right? An inheritance to his children. And excuse me, when you're thinking about legacy, sometimes we are taught that you should pass down possessions. And this is a thing. For me, it made me realize that some of the greatest people in my life didn't pass down possessions. Yeah. Right? And so then it's like someone had tweaked or redefined legacy for me. So I had to go back to the original definition that God had given for legacy and realize that my grandmother left legacy in the way that she lived her life and some of the things that I took my mom, but you may not see them, getting an award or any of those kind of things. They may not leave me a house, which I'm okay with. But there's some things that my children now have because of that. And so for me, it was like, okay, if I don't have anything in possessions, like I wasn't a multimillionaire of these things, I began to think about what would I want? I wanted my children to have the faith.
Yeah.
I literally would see when we're talking about vision, like even when you were saying that, I was thinking when my children were being born and getting older, I kept looking at them and seeing my grandchildren. I was like, I wanted my grandchildren to experience what my children would experience, and therefore what the legacy would look like. So I'm loving this conversation because it's so much more than checking the box of success. Although, don't get me wrong, if you're listening or watching, go ahead and buy your homes, get your real estate properties, get your diplomas, get your masters, do all the things that you're going to do. But just think of it in a bigger picture, motivate it in a way where you're understanding that I'm not just leaving things, because anybody can leave things.
Yeah.
Anybody can leave things. And people can also sell your things. Let me not get started. Which means it's not all legacy for them. But you want to make sure that you are living in the life that when you've gone, we're still talking about a lot of people in the earth that have made such an impact that the echoing from generation to generation, what they've done, the experiences, the resilience they had, the courage they had, is still living on in our lives. And it could have been 4 or 5 generations later. And so I just love that you share that. As I'm thinking about moving forward and we're talking about legacy, is there anything else that comes to mind for you that you want to share with the listeners? Like, really, like when you were moving through the journey, you're like, I realized that I didn't just want success, I wanted legacy.
Yeah. I think, back to what you were saying, I think for me, when I thought about it, like I wanted to leave the legacy of love and of peace and of those things. And, like my children, home is a refuge and a safe place and all of that, creating memories and experiences.
That's so good.
So I think that when you think about legacy, to your point, it's not always about possessions and things like that, but can my great-great-grandchildren really, those traditions and those different things of love and of peace and those things pass down, the legacy of that, like honoring family and tradition and those things.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So for those of you who don't even know, and maybe you haven't started, maybe you're a new listener, I'm here. I just want to encourage you that we're talking about optimum living, and that's living from the best version of who you are and creating the life that God designed for you. And when you're doing that and cultivating that space, a lot of times you have to redefine some things. And as Dr. Yia is saying to us today, like, you have to think about, like, in optimum living, we're talking about who you are. Yeah. Who you are is the legacy you leave, how you make people feel, the deposit you made, the way you've lived your life. Like, it's so big. It's so important. And I want to ask you this, the cost of building slow. Let's talk about that. What spiritual or emotional maturity does legacy building require that short-term vision doesn't? And so we're just going to stay here for a moment. We may not get to another question, but it's okay. What spiritual or emotional maturity does legacy building require that short-term vision doesn't?
So every part of a legacy is forward thinking, right? And it is grounded in seeing beyond your moment, seeing beyond just this thing. So you have to, one, have faith, because faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. Right. In legacy, you don't get to see it.
Say that again.
In legacy, you don't get to see it because it's left behind.
Woo! So you said a couple of things. You said it's forward thinking.
Yes.
Right? It's forward vision.
Yeah.
But it's also what happens when you gone.
When I'm gone. Yes. It is.
That messes you up, doesn't it?
When I leave the room.
Woo!
And I'm no longer there. And I can go speak somewhere and leave the room.
Yeah. That's
when this episode plays, it's a legacy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in this moment anymore.
Wow.
But it is documented. So when you leave that space, you got to think about what you're leaving in the space.
Absolutely.
And how it's going to land and what seed will it take root in, what heart, and all of those things so that it can grow. So when you think about it, it's about moving, like seeing beyond yourself in the vision, but also being able to be able to deposit it now.
So it's so good because I'm thinking about we're so quick to build short-term vision.
Yeah.
And not build and not like mature emotional maturity is required for legacy. So you don't even have to have emotional maturity for short-term vision, but you do for the legacy.
For the legacy, you do. You do. You have to have discipline. You have to have maturity. You have to have all of those things because it's delayed gratification.
Ooh. So, did y'all hear that?
It's delayed gratification.
Somebody, don't turn it off. Keep listening. Keep watching.
Because it's not about you.
Wow. You know, when I was younger and they used to say it's not about you, I really didn't get it. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't get it. Then I tell your neighbor it's not about you. Somebody say it's not about me. And I said, but it is about me. Why is it not about me? I'm suffering right now because it had to be about me. I got chosen. It had to be about me. But when you're saying that, you're saying it's about people, community, family.
Yes.
It's about generations now and when you are gone, like literally out of the earth.
Yeah. That is literally, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, my reason for becoming a doctor.
Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
Like when people ask, oh my God, what made you become a doctor? It wasn't to elevate in a specific career or a position. Mm-hmm. It was, and I remember saying it, somebody was like, but that was my answer. Right. I wanted to leave a legacy and add to the academic body as it relates to how to deal with African American individuals, specifically college students, and with mental and emotional wellness. So that research will never die. Mm. So years to come, there's a legacy of teaching people how to handle us and what we need outside of the classroom or partnering with the classroom. So it wasn't just about, I want to be called doctor or anything like that. It was being a part of the 4.4% of Black women that are doctors. The legacy of what that means when we weren't even allowed to go to school.
Keep talking. Like, let's keep unpacking that because you're talking about like legacy and not just short-term vision.
It's not just a title. It's not just that. It is you thinking about, and we talked before when I was here, trailblazers and different things like that. Legacy is forward thinking, but it's also shifting the parameter and the dynamics of a specific thing. Because when we think about our legacy, most times we look at what we don't have or what we came from or what we like to do different.
That's good.
So that we want to leave a legacy. There are bits and pieces that we get from other people that we want to adopt. But when you think about it, I want my children to have something more than I had, right? So then I think about that legacy and how will that happen?
Right.
So when I think about that bold, audacious young girl with a hard name, Yashakia, coming from the inner city, and other young ladies that don't think that they can be anything other than that.
Right.
That's a legacy within itself. That I am a part of the 4.4% of Black women who hold a doctoral degree. And when you think of that in context, that means that in a room of 1,000 people,
come on.
There are only 40 people that have a doctorate degree that are Black women. In 100, that's 4 people. So 96 other individuals
are not
you. That's a legacy that I'm proud to leave. Because I think that it's important that you may not get a doctorate.
Right.
But there's a legacy of something that you're choosing today.
There you go.
That you're leaving and that you're making an impact.
So powerful. Yeah.
Even if it's, I changed the way that I eat. I no longer want to eat this way because I want to leave a legacy that's not filled with disease, that's not filled with, like hypertension and all these things that have been passed down.
Yes.
I want to.
That we've also normalized.
That we've normalized, right? I want to leave a legacy of working out, of stewarding my body, of those things. So the legacy...
Oh, so good.
It's not bigger or small. Nobody's measuring it for that. It's just, is it impactful?
Come on.
Is it impactful?
Oh, this is so good. And I can sense that someone is listening or watching and it's like pop, like how you have thoughts that you're like, I thought that's what it was. And things like, I feel like they're getting clarity. Like we're talking about vision. We're talking about being able to move in your life and not compare yourself. When you said It doesn't matter what the legacy is. Just build your legacy that God has given you and know that you're going to leave impact for the rest of your life. That doesn't mean you don't have to do the same thing. I don't need to go get a doctorate. I don't need to go get a master's. I just need to do what he's telling me to do in the purpose of my life.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about what you said. We're talking about purpose-driven living and optimum living spaces. That means my purpose and your purpose don't marry each other. And even if we're both doctors, you still had a purpose in your doctorate. That's not mine.
It's not yours.
You said you went and this is what you heard. These are the people that you're supposed to serve. This is what your thesis was about. And this is how it's supposed to be in the legacy that you leave. That is so powerful. And now it's trickling on because there are generations of children you'll never ever talk to, see, or only know your name and everything that you've done and you could be in books, you could be wherever, because legacy beyond success is what you were building. Oh, and that is so remarkable because I'm thinking to myself when we're thinking big vision, right? Let's just talk about that because we're talking about legacy. When we're talking about big vision, right? A lot of times the incorrect place or the place of error is we think in numerical numbers sometimes, right? We think in demographics, right? So we think that I traveled the world, I make 2.3 million, I do this, I've impacted these people. But what about legacy being what you just said? You started at home. At home, because my children are going to go out and impact so many other people,
yes,
right? From the legacy that I'm cultivating even now. And when people see them, they're like, oh my God, you gotta meet my mom. You gotta meet my mom. My mom is the reason I'm like this. Legacy speaking beyond me, even in my own struggles. Even in the moments where I didn't know if I was doing it right.
Yeah.
In my own depression, whatever it may be, in my own humanity, I was clear that legacy is a thing. I wasn't trying to be a successful parent.
No.
You can tell me I made mistakes.
Yeah.
I know.
I wasn't trying to get the Mom of the Year award.
Listen. But at the end of the day, legacy becomes a thing, right? So it's not the 3 meals. It's not that I'm always cheery. It's all about, did I make my kids feel loved? Did they feel wanted and accepted? Did they know they were seen? I'm starting to build a legacy. That means that this person actually they feel that. Now they start to grow in that, and that's so much bigger. And those things we minimize.
Yes, which are so important. Like, you're raising a human being. And when it's all said and done, I pray that I raise one that will want to come back home and be around me, and there's love, and there's all of those things.
For sure. And for those who are listening who possibly, because this is what someone is saying, like, I'm so glad I wish y'all were my mom, or I wish I had a mom like that or a parent like that. What would you say to that person who's like, well, I didn't get that start in the legacy shift or the legacy building. I just went through a lot. What would you tell them? I feel like you're the perfect person who could speak into their lives and really help them to understand that the starting point of your vision, of your legacy, could be today. What does that look like? How can you cultivate that?
I was saying that it does. It starts with you, because I think I led earlier that legacy sometimes comes out of deficit, right? What you didn't get or what you didn't have. And the person that I am today, I didn't have that specifically from that upbringing and that rearing. I've had incredible people that have deposited into me. But if you don't have it, there is going to always be a part of you that desires it. Yes, right? That's the human part of you. But I think that knowing that you get the beauty of legacy is you get to create it. You get to create it. So you can own a different story. You can change it right now.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, and it just starts with you making that decision that you want something different.
Oh my gosh, that's
and then
so
partnering with God to get it.
That's so good. You know what I just heard you say, and maybe the individual are not able to articulate it themselves? You just said you have the power I wanted to remind you and I want to activate that you have the power. You are empowered to change the narrative and you don't have to stay the same. Your vision can go beyond what you thought it would be because legacy is the ultimate vision.
It is. It is the ultimate vision. Change the narrative.
Yeah.
You can change the narrative, the playlist, the channel, whatever it is
Come
that you
on.
need to. And if we stay in narrative and books, it's just a chapter, right?
Mm.
And even if it's that, it could be a series of books. And in that book, that's what was going on. But you can write a new story.
Absolutely.
Change the narrative.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Changing the narrative and allowing. This is the part that I love being a disciple of Jesus and follower and being saved is that the narrative or the story is already written. Oh. and that's what gives me the joy because I'm like I wouldn't have wrote it this good. You know what I mean? You have the areas of you're like oh my gosh I wouldn't have put that part in it, but who I became through that part.
Listen.
Who God was in that area, right? How I was able to experience Him and a level of courage that I have now that I didn't even think I had. Resilience, I didn't even know what that was when I was 20. So now I'm like, oh, I look back, oh, no, that's what that was. Right.
Yeah.
So He's already written the story.
Yes.
And although I didn't know the story, He had already written it. So when you were saying change the narrative, I believe a lot of that has to do with going ahead and allowing yourself to align yourself with what He's saying.
Yeah.
And renewing your mind to a growth mindset where you're not limited.
Yeah. That plays in your head, right?
Oh my gosh.
You're saying, I'm saying,
yeah.
Well, I didn't have this start.
Right.
Well, what are you looking at, though?
Okay.
Did you not have this start if you're a kingdom kid?
Right.
Right? In the natural, you may not have, but God has already known that. So when you change the narrative, what's being said, then you begin to focus on God and, oh, wait. Yeah, I would have never guessed this for my life.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell me that making a decision 20 years ago to go away to college, to just change. I just wanted to get out of survival mode.
Right.
Not knowing that I was building a legacy. I was the first to go to college of my grandmother's children. My parents, one of them did not finish high school, and the other one only had a high school diploma. So I just knew that was the only way that I could become more, to get out of a situation and a circumstance, not knowing that from that, I have 7 siblings. From that, 4 of them went to school because I went to school.
Come on.
So that's a legacy. That is legacy. Had I not said yes and went to school and I just wanted to do something different. And 2 out of the 4 went to the same school that I went to.
Come on, Dr. Yeah.
So yeah, change the narrative because your simple life and the things that you're doing is leaving a legacy. There's somebody that is watching you and you're giving them courage to do something different that they've never seen.
Oh, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. I absolutely love that. So what I want to ask you to do is what wisdom would you offer to someone who is in a slow, hidden season, but building something deep? So they know that they're building something deep, but it's like a slow, hidden season. What wisdom would you offer to them?
Don't skip this part of the process.
Ooh, don't skip it!
Don't skip it. We are so married to the end result. We are so married to the promise that we forfeit the preparation.
Can you please repeat that? Because somebody was like, what she said?
We're so married to the promise. God has promised me this.
Right.
Like it's already in the plan.
Right.
I know the plans that He has for me. I want that expected end. But we don't want to go through the preparation. So the hidden season, the slow season is all building and preparing you for whatever you're going, for that legacy. Had I not had those seasons of, God, you don't see me, you don't hear me, I'm tired, I don't want to do this, I feel like I got it every turn. But there's something that I can take from every last one of those seasons of being hidden. So it's in that season that you're being prepared. And preparation doesn't always look like you're being prepared for a thing. Your heart could be being prepared.
Yeah.
Your mind could be being prepared. You could be releasing things so that that legacy can move forward.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but don't skip it.
That's good wisdom. That's really good wisdom. Wow. I just want us to sit in that for a minute and think about it, because we are sometimes bombarded in culture, right?
Yeah.
By so many skip, and we're trying to get there overnight because we think that there is some entitlement to even skip something.
Yeah. Like, who are you that you can skip the process?
And what I'm learning and hearing you say is, when you are building legacy, you definitely don't want to skip any portion of preparation. No. All right, so, oh my gosh, this time is going so fast, but what's in your heart that you would, if I just showed up and I said, hey, I just want to do all this stuff, and God's showing me all this stuff, and I'm doing all this stuff, but I don't see it happening fast enough. What would you share with someone as we are, in this place of vision and closing out? What's a word of legacy, a word of wisdom? What would you say to that woman, that man, that person who's like, I've been building, I've been doing this, I don't see the result. I was successful, I did fail, whatever the scenario is, what would you say to them to remind them that it's about legacy?
That every opportunity that you cultivate today is depositing into tomorrow.
That
if we, again, go back to, we talked about understanding what legacy is, it is not for this moment. So every piece, every deposit, you're not going to always see it, but what you're cultivating today, whether that is you are cultivating your children right now, that the return on your investment is going to be greater in the later part of it. I think just in that moment, I thought about when you deposit and then you leave money that it has to appreciate, right? That appreciation comes over time.
Right.
And if you want to cash out today, it's going to be worth
those
far more
yeah.
tomorrow.
So true.
So making sure that you understand, yes, you've been building. Yes, you've been doing it for a long time, but it's consistency. It's continuing to do it. It's being intentional about that so that you make sure that it's legacy and not just a decision that you're making, and not just, I'm doing something.
Right.
Because that's the difference between somebody that's just showing up every day to just do something to get through the day.
Yeah.
Or are you doing something to be intentional and impactful that's going to really have longevity and staying power for years to come?
That's so good. So good. So good. When you were talking, all I kept thinking was, legacy is what you do with your life.
It's what you do with your life. It's everyday decisions that you do with your life.
Oh my God.
It's the sum of that.
I was just thinking about, when you were talking, like, how many moments in our lives do we miss the opportunity of what you just said about the deposit, the person in the Walmart, I left that person encouraged or feeling better, or, it's a stranger, but at the end of the day, the world is so small that we could see that stranger again, and we wouldn't remember them, but they will remember us.
Yes.
And they would say, Dr. Ya, I know you don't remember me, but I was standing at the register and you paid for my stuff and you gave me an encouraging word, and then you just walked away. And they saw you and said, it's me. I went and did it. And and you don't even understand that was a moment of depositing and legacy happening. And that person that you did that with has children or family that's being impacted by that. It's just such a residual moment of OMG. And I love this conversation. My God, we're going to have to bring it back.
Yes. Oh, this was so good.
I have to bring you back. It's, to me, I want to dive into it a little bit more. We'll probably do a different setting for it, but I definitely know we'll be coming back we've been talking about vision, and a lot of times people are, and I have nothing against a vision board or any of those things, which are really cool if that's what you're doing. But we just wanted to challenge you to open up your space of understanding and think a little bit deeper and about God and what He wants. And the thing about God that you may not pay attention to is whatever He does is always about legacy. There's never anything that God's going to do that's not about a legacy authorship, right? Everything about the stories is going to have some form of legacy. We're still reading about people's legacy right now. I'm still experiencing legacy from generations of people that I didn't even meet, but they're the people that I've met talks about those people, right? And that's how it works. And so I'm just so grateful that Dr. Yah was here with us to just talk about this, and she was the perfect person to like close out. And I'm just so grateful that you are, again, because I know just like a little bit of your story and where you've been. It's just been such a blessing to have you here on the podcast with us, because I know that you're living an optimum life. I know that you're living it. You're not perpetrating it. And I love that the way you're defining your life is in alignment with the word of truth, right? Yes. Because we can live it from a place of lie, which torments us. And I just love that you're doing that and the freedom that you have shared. I hope that you all have received something. I'm going to shoot off some rapid questions to you just for a little bit of fun as we do some reflection and close out. For you. Here's one. What keeps you legacy minded in a fast world?
I think knowing and understanding what God has called me to.
I like that.
Because I think when the world is going so fast and there's a new trend and a new thing, I know what He's called me to do and the impact I'm supposed to have.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, what's one thing you hope people say about your leadership long after you're gone?
That my leadership and I have built a life of transformation, that they see that me living a life of faith, that they can see those things, that there is transformation there, that when I leave them better. I leave them challenging themselves to grow, to go back to God, to be centered in themselves, and to know that they can do it.
Ooh. Listen, y'all, you're not just building for now, just a reminder. You're building for legacy. And sometimes the greatest impact of your vision won't be seen in your lifetime. And that's what Dr. Yah was saying earlier. If the season has encouraged you to think bigger, think deeper, or to think about what it looks like to pass the baton, I want you to share it out with a fellow legacy-minded leader, person in life. Just let them know that this is something they need to hear. I believe that God has positioned this time and this moment for you. And I want to encourage you as we close out that wherever you are on the journey, don't allow yourself to get caught in I should be further or any of those kind of things. Or maybe you are just trying to build a career. Maybe you just wanted to be successful. None of those things are negative nor wrong. We start off on the journey with a mindset, this kind of mindset. And then as we seek the Lord, He opens up to us a deeper picture, a bigger picture, a greater understanding. And then we realize even the things that we valued, our values begin to change, which means legacy changes, because we're like, oh, this is really valuable. Let me move in that, build that. And so that's what Dr. Yah was talking about with us today. And I pray that as we close out in this season talking about vision, that you will see yourself as God has seen you, and that you will move through life in the authentic spaces. Not perfect, you'll make your mistakes, but you will have the way that you see yourself will be through the word of truth and the word of God. And I speak over you that you will continue to thrive and not just survive, that you won't allow yourself to move through life just as a survivor. We all have those moments in life where we have to survive, but once that is over, we're building in a thriving mindset. And Dr. Yah said when you're building with a thriving mindset, that means you start building with legacy in mind. You start planting seeds, and you know that the ROI, the return on that investment, is not going to be seen by you all the time, but sometimes it's generations that's receiving it. So I just want to encourage you, hold on, keep going. Whatever you need to do, don't let go of what God is showing you. And if it's not clear, I love what she shared in the other episode. Just take the first step. Just want to remind you that you are built for this. God has created you for this. And I'm so glad that we had this moment together. Thank you for being with me for Optimum Living. I am Sybil Bull, helping you grow, live fully, and unlock the life you were created to enjoy. Until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and keep reaching for the life God has shown you. And remember this, you are designed to live an optimum life. Thank you so much for being with me in this season, and I'll see you in the next one.